So are there any questions so far? You know, some of this stuff can be a little bit intimidating. It gets a little confusing, especially with all the parts. In the back, I have a flow chart that tells you what parts to use. Okay.
Yeah. I'll take it up a notch.
I'm
Yeah, you can leave it open, but I'll just take the plug for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. How you guys? Dr. Lou's pretty amazing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
Well, I didn't see anybody fall asleep yet.
Yeah, you did good, Doc. You did really good. So let me plug in here, and then I've got just a few slides. I use photos, so it's a nice break from a lecture. Let's see if I connect. Beautiful. And so, let me,
You know, this implant stuff, it's really a team effort. You know, you can have all this information in your brain, but if you can't sell the case, you know, what's the use? So this is where Domenic comes in. It's really a team effort. Everybody needs to be on the same page. The front girl needs to reinforce what is said in the back, and so is the assistants. Everybody on the same page. I don't really have trouble selling these big cases. A lot of it is communication and empathy. The patient has to know that you care for them, not just after their money. And so if they have any questions, you know, if you know your stuff, that's where it can shine, because that's your chance to do your little performance to convince the patient that you really care for them and you really know what you're doing. Because I see doctors that have a hard time with this, not that their communication skills are lacking, but because, I should say it the other way around, they know their stuff, but their communication isn't to the point where they can show that the patients that they really do know the stuff. So, you know, you can take 1,000,000 classes and really know the stuff, but if you can't communicate it to the patient that you really know your stuff and you really care about them, then it's going to be hard to sell a case. And that's why you see all these companies like MGE and, you know, Pride and you know, what's the name? McAnally,
yeah, McKinsey.
big case marketer, and all these other people, you know.
So thanks, Doc. You know, and so real quick on Domenic, I'm a private consultant. I've been in dental about 12, 13 years. My dentist, who was my dentist about 12 years up to that point, called me on a Friday night. His wife actually called. Everybody had quit, and gave 1 hour notice, and we're teaching him a lesson is what they said they were doing. And so whatever that was, the lesson was that I came in, I was a patient, and I was real passionate for him. I loved him because dentists are accessible. You guys are in our faces. You're talking to us. Your work, you're touching us. We have a doctor that's that close. When we go to the MD, they're seeing 80 people in a day. It's tongue depressors and cuffs and quick, and then what's the problem? Okay, here's a prescription, or here's a little note. It's very different. You come in, you're a little more intimidated in an MD. That was my opinion, because it's quick. You feel rushed. Whereas my dentist never rushed me. I got there about 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. Every time I would come in, because I worked in the city and I would commute up. I'm in Sonoma County, and it was the end of the day. But he stayed as late as he needed, and it was just me. I even knew to bend the suction, put it in my mouth. I held a mirror and I said, okay, I want to talk about this. And he'd do a crown filling, and we would talk, and we'd stay for an hour after. And a year before, in 2002, I saw all kinds of challenges at his front office, and I said, I would love to do this job. I was staying late because you saw all these problems in 30 minutes of sitting in the lobby? And I said, no, I saw them in the first 5. It was a lot of challenges, financial issues, whatever, and it was his team. Loved him, hated his team. They kept messing up our co-pays, they kept messing up our billing, kept getting bills. It made us angry. It was so bad, and they were so rude about it. And doctor didn't even know. I learned all this afterwards. You guys, I get it deeply now. He didn't even know what was going on. So when I said, I'd love to do this job, I want to do this. So he didn't understand. He looked at me like, that seems odd. I worked in tech and running a department, an IT department in San Francisco. And it didn't make sense to him why I would want to, but I had this passion for this person I thought so highly of. I didn't understand how hard it was. You guys are the product as well as the owners. You're managing and running and selling yourselves. And then he said, and I get this deeply as a front office person, I spent years in his practice, 3 years in his practice, we doubled it. We were off Delta. I grew his Delta practice, being off Delta, because I was passionate and I gave so much effort into it. And we taught the whole team. We built it. We doubled the practice, grew, traveled the world for dentistry. It was fun. So when I got into a point where it was boring, I understood when I heard the drill spinning, I can surf the net and I can do things with the drill, and I heard the talking, the mask was down, oh, okay, I gotta get my papers ready. I had it down and it was boring. That being said, I look at it deeper, and I got into making systems, and I had to go and do it more for other people. I couldn't do that the rest of my life, but there's a lot of people who are very passionate at the front desk. They care about it. And what I learned about you guys is the leadership. And so I love coming in and helping these guys lead, and you guys, because that's the hardest thing. So I'm going to give you guys, this is not a sales spiel. I mean, you're welcome to call me, and I'll have my phone number at the end, and please feel free. But I love giving nuggets, is the way I call it. So you'll get a couple today, real quick. All right, I want to congratulate you guys. You're spending a Saturday growing your knowledge on something that's very tough, kind of boring. I've listened to this one several times. It's tough for me to, and I hear it a lot when I'm in his practice. I'm in Dr. Louie's practice about 3 times a month for most of the day, and helping his team coordinate. I just tune into how things are going, and we just integrate our technology and communication. It's fun. Dr. Louie and I have gone to a lot of classes together. As a matter of fact, he didn't know I took that picture. But that's us going off to class, and we drive to Southern California. We're going all over. We're like you guys. When I started working, I only worked with Hyacinth. I've spoken to Mike Chen's and other doctors. I knew Dr. Louie before, and that's how I found Hyacinth. And I really didn't understand deeply how different you guys are. What that means is I put you guys in that 20%. I've worked with dentists who don't take the classes. They scramble when their CE are due, and I didn't understand that. I thought everybody. I always was with dentists who enjoy taking classes. Let me see what else I can learn. What else can I do? Spend a Saturday listening to Dr. Louie. When you can be home doing what we do at home. So, okay, let me have some fun. I'm going to ask a question. This is a little bit of engagement. What's the most important instrument in your practice? The Explorer. What?
A mirror.
A mirror. Ooh, good. Handpiece. What? Handpiece. What's the most important instrument in your practice?
Explorer.
The Explorer. Okay, got a couple of Explorers. Intro camera. I love that. Wow. Your mouth. Everybody's right. Yeah, good. Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's good. The denture phone. No, the telephone. I found a clever photo, but the phone, to me, is the most important instrument in your practice. The one thing you can't insure. I've done this question a lot. Doctors always say, "Oh, my hands." Like, yeah, it's a trick question, but you can insure that. You can insure your practice. But that's the one thing. And I learned this when I was at my dentist practice 10, 12 years ago, when he said he could hear. He spent half the time working on a mouth and half the time trying to hear what's being said. And he stood this is where I just learned. I went to every class I could at the time. I would stay late and just listen to all of his stories. At my first week, and I didn't know anything about them. My first week, he said, they wouldn't even collect copay. I was like, what is that? What does that mean? But they wouldn't ask the patients for what they owed that day. Okay. So at that point, I just started asking for a copay. And I had no fear. This is the funny thing, is we develop fear. We grow our own fears. I had no fear. I didn't care. I came from another world. Oh, is that what you want? Okay, we'll do it. He didn't understand that because he had always had people coming and going, "Doctor, that's not how we're going to do it. That doesn't work. That's not how, our patients won't do that." I've heard it all. I've been in hundreds of offices, and I've heard everything. And as soon as I hear, "Oh, well, we can't collect copay. Our patients will never let us." You guys train them to do that. Not you guys, but those teams. You guys are sitting there trying to spin a drill and listen to what's being said. My doctor said he was filling out a chart at the counter, and at the end of the day, phone rings. He's doing this, but he's listening, and she answers, "Thanks for calling." Yeah, $91. Okay, bye-bye. "What was that?" he asked. "Oh, a shopper." I knew enough to understand that's not a shopper. Right away, and that was about week 2. Right away I went, well, they don't know what to ask. That's important, and that's the nugget I'm going to send you home with today. I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you something today to take with you that you guys, and it's important. I think that understanding that when people call and teaching your team this, they don't know what to ask. No matter what they ask, that's not what they really want. Do you take my insurance? How much is a cleaning? All those things. That's not what they really care about. They just need to, well, always, always, always have a notepad and plenty of pens near every phone. I just brought a stack of paper and a bunch of used pens to Dr. Louis because they just, they disappear. And it drives me crazy because I'm always answering phones, and he has phones everywhere. He understands how important the phones are. As a matter of fact, he's got like 3 cell phones to the practice as well. When we go to lunch, we bring cell phones with us. And that's a big question I always wonder, and let me see, is that for now? My question is always, when do you guys answer your phones? Is it just from 8 to 5 minus lunch? Do you guys answer a little before 8, a little after 5? Are you guys answering lunch? Is there a service? Who's servicing your phones? And that's something for you guys to think about, because not everybody calls during those hours. Now, if it's an existing patient, you've built rapport and they love you, no problem. They'll leave a message. They know they'll hear back, especially if our team is good at getting back to them. It takes training. It takes drilling your team. It's hard because you guys are the owners as well as the workers, the product. And side note, I read an article about the CEO of Delta Dental of Washington, and so he made a poke at you guys, and this was a couple years ago in an article I read that they were questioning, because they were lowering benefits and they were doing some other shenanigans. And he says, well, if dentists decided to work a full week, then maybe it would matter. And it's like, broke my heart when I read that, because they don't understand, but he knows. But he just undermined you guys. That taught me a good lesson, by the way, because I've always taught to undermine the insurance company. So I don't want to sidetrack too long, because I wanted to just give you a couple nuggets, but this is, patients come in like this. Hi, we're here. What's this? Oh, this is my buddy insurance. They're going to pay for everything. Whatever they say, I don't have to listen. Just do whatever they want. Our jobs are to separate them. And so, as I heard Delta Dental, Washington State say that about you guys, it broke my heart, because all week you're working, and then Friday you're running your errands, trying to decompress. Think about Betty Front Desk, who's been hanging up on phone calls. I don't know, $91. Okay, bye. Hi, thanks for, hi, can you hold, please? No, it takes training. Just like you guys are doing today, your teams have to be trained. So I'm going to teach you guys a little thing about training that you can do in your offices. A little thing, but try it, do it. Because you guys strive, but inspiring them, this is why I use my pom-poms, I'm kind of doing it now. I want to inspire you guys to learn something that's out of your comfort zone, it's out of their comfort zone. We know what to do, it's hard. It's hard to get them moving along. One of my doctors says it's like pulling cows up a tree. Maybe it's a Buddhist term, whatever, because I thought it's appropriate because it sounds so difficult. My take-home nugget. Okay, one of the things I always love about my dentists is you guys always get excited. I'm assuming you guys too. Get excited when you leave an all-day class, even on a Saturday, and go, I got that one nugget. I got that one thing. I'm hoping to give you one of those, because I like that part. You're going to get a ton from him. And Dr. Louis, by the way, is fantastic. He's very gracious, glad to give, ask the questions, hang out with him. He'll answer everything. He's amazing. So I'm going to teach you guys how to take a proper message. Everyone in your practice should be able to answer the phone. Now, have any of you ever answered your phones? I can assume how. I've heard a lot of dentists answering phones. Dental office, heart skipping, because everybody should answer the same way. And I teach how to take the perfect new patient phone call, the perfect message. I'm going to give you this. This is my nugget that I'm going to give you. When I'm done with this screen, you can take a photo of this, because I am recording myself, but because there's little nuances in between each line that explains the importance of what I'm about to teach you. Hi, thank you for calling Tri-Valley Dental Care. This is Dominic. How may I help you? When I teach this, you can make it yours, but I'm thanking them for calling. I'm telling you who I am, and I'm asking to help them. May I help you? That's it. We're in the service, and we're servicing them. Okay. They want to know your name. They want to know. And you can say your first name. You can do, but when they find out you're the doctor, oh, but it'll tie in with everything. Everyone should be able to answer the phone. You answer this way. You never say, "Can you hold, please?" Or "Doctor's office." Or, "Okay, I'll be right with you." It's, "How can I help you?" No matter how busy it is, that phone call is most important for that moment. Now, I'm going to break off for a second and explain something. When you're talking with a patient face-to-face and the phone's ringing and people ignore it, they're expecting you to grab that. They're not expecting you to go into a 10-minute call, but they're expecting that call to be answered. I've been told in my chiropractor's office with a lot of arrogance, and she has no idea what I do for a living. She says, "Oh, it's okay, they can leave a message." And I know who that is. The way she said it made it realize, oh, when I call in the middle of the day and that phone rings and goes to voicemail, is she doing that to me? Now, reaching her in her thick-headedness has been challenging. I went to my chiropractor and explained it to her a couple of times. Changes were made because I gave a lot of encouragement. That had to be changed because you can't do that. Patient's expecting you to answer that call. But this is just going to be 30 seconds. They're going to ask you, above this, they're going to say, "Hi, do you take my insurance? How much is a cleaning? Feel free to write, but I'll let you please take a picture of this one in just a moment." They're going to ask you a question. That's great. No matter what that question is, again, you got your notepad and paper, you're ready to write. Just it's insurance, it's why is my bill, anything. It doesn't matter, because you're going to help them. "Yeah, I can help you." "Sure. Yeah, hang on. First of all," now hit the brakes. 90% of the callers are going to let you take control. They want you to control the call. It's simple. You just need to have your questions ready. It's in this order. "Hey, great, I can help you. Who am I speaking with?" "Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm John." "John, great, I can help you." Whoop. Now it's your turn to tell them what you think he asked, or he or she just asked. So you're asking, do we take Delta Dental? Is that what you're asking? So now, start asking questions to build that rapport. So they understand that you know what they understand. That they know you understand what they want. Delta, and there's a lot of scripts. I can spend all day teaching you the details of this, or your teams. We take all insurance. We've got when I was non-dental, we had no Delta. We were not in Delta. I grew the Delta practice. I knew that we took Delta, sure. I would say we have a ton of Delta patients. As a matter of fact, more than half of our insurance patients are Delta patients. I answered their question. That's not what they want. They don't want to know if you take their insurance. They want to know, can I come to your practice? Do I want to? Back in the day, 11, 12 years ago, we had yellow pages. And in the yellow page, we were the third ad, 3/4 page. So we were the third call. Western Dental, another big name in our town, Santa Rosa, and then ours. So I got the third call. I would even be, "Oh, don't hang up on me. I'm not going anywhere. I don't care how much mayhem was going on around me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here." That caller wants to know. So if you're standing and talking with a patient or somebody and that phone's ringing, pardon me for just one moment. I'll be right with you. "Thank you for calling. How may I help you?" "Yeah, I can help you with that. Who am I speaking with?" Pens out. You got a name. "Oh, great. Okay, you have an insurance question? We can help you. You know what? I know we take a lot of insurance. I'm the doctor and I'm in the clinical area, or I'm helping another family, or I'm working with somebody, but I want to get you help. Can I have such and such call you back?" The only time it's really important to put somebody on hold is a new patient. And that's all hands on deck, new patient on the phone. Somebody better jump into action and come and help. Don't leave them on too long. Please get on hold music, because the dead silence kills them. We can go a lot of details. I'm going to get back on track. Just let them know you understand what they're calling about. As soon as they do that, they feel good. Okay, you could get me. Explain that you're in the clinical area, or that you're helping another family, but you're going to help them in a moment. Take this picture. So you guys get your phones out. Take this. I've walked you through it. you're in a clinical area of practice, you'll have the expert in the practice return to, my billing person, Betty will call you. Give them a time frame. They're going to call you within a certain amount of time. Do not, that's why it's all caps, guys, do not overpromise. Does it take them 3 hours or 3 days to call? Tell them that. If it's 3 days or a day, call me, because we got to work on that. Get it to an hour. Can I have, you know what, everybody stepped out to lunch, but as soon as they get back and we get through get everybody checked in, can I have Betty call you back? Absolutely. Repeat their number back to them. Make sure you have it. This seems basic, but today, from this point forward, answer your phones like this. It'll change everything. If you answer your phones, tell your team about this too, because it's going to help. One of the hardest things about getting your team to be willing to do these things is team meetings. So again, I'm not going to digress too much further. There's a lot involved in this. Have a team meeting every month. Every month. Keep it simple. Go over your numbers. Help them understand, because they're not owners. They don't get owners. They don't understand that you have overhead. Oh, doctor made $56,000. I hear it. I hear it all the time. No, doctor didn't make $56,000. Doctor spent $55,000. It's a big world. It's a hard world for them to get. But help them understand. The biggest thing about training your office is those team meetings is rehearse. The most awkward thing in the world. What are you guys going to do later on? You're going to be rehearsing. You're going to be practicing on some typodonts or something. You're making impressions, doctor, something awesome. The only way you know to get better at it is to do it over and over and over. Rehearse. Have fun with it. Throw them a dollar lottery ticket after they've done their rehearsal. Yay, have fun, scratch. Get the excitement going a little bit so that they're doing it. But trust me, the first one's the hardest. The second one's a little easier. By the 10th time, no problem. I can answer any phone in any office because I've got this built in. I've done it thousands of times. So it's it's natural. Okay, real quick, before we eat lunch, I know that food's smelling good. I want to talk about chocolate cake because my family, because Doctor likes to talk about Thailand all the time, so I got to talk about my family's chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is not my favorite thing. I'm a kind of a brownies edge person myself. I like a little crunch, a little soft and chewy. Corners are even the better. But my family makes the best. This is just a Google picture, but it looks like that. It's moist. It's awesome. I walk in the house when I get home, and I stay in San Jose in my apartment, and I go home on the weekends. So sometimes they'll make a cake, and I come in, and they'll save it for me. They'll make it on Fridays for me. And when I come home, it's like, I want a piece of that cake because it's so good. They use sugar. They use real butter. I'm trying to go as organic as possible. I love their chocolate cake. So I just wanted to brag about their chocolate cake. Also, I want to talk about Dr. Louie. Dr. Louie is phenomenal. I've been working with him full-time, probably 2 or 3 times a month for over 2 years now. I've known him for 5, and he's amazing. When I see patients in the practice who come in, I start talking about Dr. Louie like he's chocolate cake. He is chocolate cake. When it comes to implants, when it comes to dentistry, when it comes to his generosity, his smarts, you guys are chocolate cake. You guys came in on a Saturday to get better. You're chocolate cake. It's important. When somebody's asking, when they come in, they're not asking, is Dr. Louie trustworthy? Is this a good place to be? I tell them. I slip it in. I build the rapport. I teach the team to do this. I do it so many times, and then I push them. Go do this. That's those team meetings. Practice it. I tell them, I had my implant, number 4, done by Dr. Louie. When I snap my tooth, they look at me and go, you got great teeth. I know, but I grind, I rocks, I clench. It's so many things, and I start teaching them a little bit about dental. Oh, it's funny. This thing's connected to the body, and it's like when this thing's stressing, this stresses. Like, oh, I know. Well, I'm in the best hands. I'll tell them I've seen hundreds of dentists. I used to train Sarah for Patterson. I've seen a lot of preps. I've seen a lot of scary things. That's when I started realizing there's a difference in dentistry. And I even say that to my patients. And I teach that to my teams. You guys have been in other offices. Talk about the difference. Why are you here? I chose to work with Dr. Louie because, why? He's amazing. He's going to do as many bone grafts as it takes, and he's not going to charge you for it. I would wish he would, but the beautiful thing is if it takes 2, he's going to do 2. He's only going to charge you for 1. He'll do whatever it has. I've seen a broken implant. He'll just put a new one in for you. You couldn't come to a better place. Your team needs to be talking about you like you're chocolate cake. Are you guys chocolate cake? Dr. Springy, another good friend, my 2 favorite doctors, Dr. Louie and Dr. Springy, she's in Paso Robles, and I go down to her office twice a month, and I just drove up from there this morning. I I gave this little spiel at a Mike Chen event 2 years ago. She came up to me. She weaved through, pushed everybody aside because it was lunchtime, we were eating, and people were mobbing us, and we were having a good time. I was talking about websites at the time, but this came up, and she came and she goes, I want to be chocolate cake. And I could tell, I was like, well, who are you? What's going on? And I found it, we started having conversations, and I can tell she's chocolate cake. She gets 100 CE units the first half of her first year. She's just hungry and loves it, doesn't even realize how awesome she is. So that's why I say I adore my doctors who come in on Saturdays and do this. Does your team know you're in a class today? Are they going to talk about it all for the next 3 weeks? Are they going to say what you've been learning? Are you chocolate cake? Tell them about that. But when I did that chocolate, this is the second time I've done this, 2 years later. And I had somebody call me down in Sunnyvale. I went in and trained their office for a couple of sessions. It was fun. She wanted me to teach them how to answer phone calls. And I started talking about chocolate cake, and they said, oh, I know. I was like, what do you mean you know? Oh, we saw the video. What video? The doctor had filmed me. In the dark, there was 18 doctors, and she filmed me, and she didn't know she was going to get the chocolate cake lecture. So I'm glad you guys took a picture of that. I'm glad I got to even have a minute to just kind of inspire you. I see a lot of smiles, which is good. That's what I like. Those smiles help sell dentistry. I know that's the dirty word of dentistry. Please take a picture of that. Please call me. I love talking, obviously. Okay, I don't charge for that. Give me a ring. I drive all over the place, and so my phone's ringing all the time. You feel free to call me. Yeah, I met you at Dr. Louie's practice. Excellent. Hit me with questions. What was that thing? And what? I'm open to all of that. Okay? It was very much a pleasure. Thank you. I want to give you guys a round of applause for doing what you did. Thank you. Let's get some food. I think we got some falafel waiting for us. Thanks, Dr. Louie.